The crowd thought they were about to watch a gimmick, a sideshow, a TV star showing off kicks and punches to sell tickets. But what unfolded on that March night in 1966 inside San Francisco's Hamilton Pavilion was something no one in that room would ever forget. The polished wooden floors reflected the stage lights. Martial arts banners swayed in the breeze from an overhead fan. Rows of masters sat stiffly in their seats, arms folded, eyes skeptical. To them, Bruce Lee wasn't a martial artist. He was an actor. A novelty from television they couldn't have. Been more wrong. At just 25 years old, Bruce walked silently onto the floor. No theatrics, no music, just calm, deliberate steps. His plain black kung fu uniform said nothing, but his eyes said everything. The announcer's booming voice tried to sell him as a star from the Green Hornet, the man with the fastest hands on television. The applause was scattered, polite. A few kids in the back whistled. Most people weren't impressed. They were waiting for the real performances. Then Bruce spoke. Not loudly, not dramatically, but with a quiet, steady voice that demanded attention. "What is martial arts?" he asked the crowd. "Is it tradition? Is it repetition? Or is it the ability to adapt, to express yourself honestly in combat?" The room stilled. Popcorn dropped from restless hands. Even the older masters, who had dismissed him minutes earlier, leaned forward. What happened next would tear down walls that had stood in martial arts for centuries. Bruce wasn't there to entertain. He was there to teach, to challenge, to awaken, and by the end of that night, a man once mocked as a gimmick would leave San Francisco as something else entirely. A legend. You're watching The Wake Up Lab, where hidden truths and untold stories come alive. If you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story they never wanted you to hear. It was March 1966. The San Francisco Martial Arts Display was the biggest event the Pacific Coast Martial Federation had ever hosted. Schools from across the region came to showcase their traditions. Taekwondo, Kung Fu, Kenpo, Aikido, even Western boxing. Every demonstration was sharp, precise, and steeped in lineage. The announcer praised each one with heavy words. Fourth-generation Okinawan tradition. Direct student of Yip Man. Third-degree black belt certified in Korea. It was orderly, predictable, and it was exactly what the crowd expected. Backstage, Bruce Lee was stretching quietly. His movements looked more like dance than combat fluid, effortless. To the other performers, he was just a kid from television, flashy but unserious. A Shotokan sensei muttered bitterly, "This is what martial arts has become? Actors doing kicks for applause." His peers nodded. Bruce ignored them. His breathing stayed calm, his eyes sharp. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't even preparing to entertain. He was studying. His slot came near the end, right before the closing ceremony. 2 hours had passed. Some of the crowd was already leaving. The announcer boomed, "And now, straight from Hollywood, Bruce Lee." The applause was thin. But Bruce wasn't here for applause. He stepped into the center, stood tall, and asked his question, "What is martial arts?" Then he issued a challenge. "Rather than tell you, I'd like to show you. If anyone would like to spar, light contact, controlled, come forward, any style." The audience froze. Sparring wasn't on the program. It wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't safe. But then a young karate brown belt stepped forward. He bowed. Bruce bowed back. The fight lasted 5 seconds. The karateka launched a step-in punch. Bruce shifted, parried, and touched his chest before the strike had even finished. No injury, just pure shock. The man froze, realizing he'd been stopped mid-flow. Another challenger stepped up. Then another. A boxer. A taekwondo kicker. Each. One was dismantled in seconds. Bruce moved like water, adapting instantly to every style, every attack. But here's the key. He wasn't humiliating them. After every spar, he bowed, turned to the crowd, and explained. This punch lacked rotation. That kick was powerful but predictable. This guard is strong, but leaves the legs open. He wasn't performing. He was teaching, and the audience was transfixed. The murmurs grew louder. The skeptical masters leaned in. Their folded arms dropped. This wasn't the flashy kid from TV. This was something else. Something they hadn't seen before. Then came the silence. From the back, the stern Shotokan sensei, Masaru Watanabe, stood and walked forward. Everyone braced for confrontation. Would he challenge Bruce? Try to take him down? But instead he bowed. A full, deep bow, the kind reserved for a teacher. His voice carried through the room. I had forgotten why I began martial arts. Thank you for reminding me. The room erupted, not with cheers but with something deeper. Respect. Masters stood, applauding slowly. Students followed. A wave of recognition spread. Bruce bowed again, humbly, quietly. He had come in as a gimmick. He left as a revolution backstage. The organizer, Phil Traynor, was stunned. Bruce, what the hell was that? Bruce smiled lightly. You asked me to be a gimmick. I figured I'd surprise you. Phil didn't know whether to laugh or apologize. Everyone's talking. The whole room, I don't even have the words. Bruce patted his shoulder. That's good. Martial arts should make you feel something, not just follow something. That night, Bruce walked out into the cold San Francisco air. Behind him, students were already mimicking his movements, buzzing with excitement. A spark had been lit. The next morning, the San Francisco Examiner ran a small column, buried in the back pages. It wasn't a feature, but it called Bruce the unknown actor who stole the night, not with theatrics, but with truth. Word spread. Slowly at first, then steadily. Instructors wrote letters, dojos whispered. Something had shifted at Masaru's. Dojo training changed. Rigid forms gave way to questions. Students experimented, adapted, explored. A photo from that night, Bruce mid-spar, blurred in motion, hung on the wall beneath it. Masaru wrote a single phrase. Never stop questioning. Bruce returned to Hollywood. On the Green Hornet set, he clashed with stuntmen who begged him to slow down. He couldn't, or wouldn't. Studios still saw him as exotic background talent. But in the martial arts world, among those who had been there that night in 1966, he was already something greater. That night was never televised. No clips, no viral footage, just memory. But memory became legend. A story passed from teacher to student. He was just supposed to be a gimmick. But what happened that night was unbelievable. Years later, Bruce's philosophy from that evening, flow, truth, adaptability, became the backbone of Jeet Kune Do, a system that wasn't a system, a challenge to the very idea of systems, and even now, decades later, martial artists still pause before demonstrations, still remind their students, forms mean nothing without feeling all, because of one night in San Francisco when Bruce Lee shocked the world. Bruce Lee arrived at the Hamilton Pavilion as a sideshow, a TV novelty, a gimmick, but he left as a teacher who changed everything. He reminded a generation that martial arts is not tradition for tradition's sake. It's not rigid forms or rehearsed routines. It's honesty. It's movement. It's truth. And that truth would go on to shape his entire philosophy, his films, and his legacy as the greatest martial artist of all time. So I'll ask you, what's your favorite Bruce Lee moment? Has his philosophy inspired you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This is the Wake Up Lab. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay awake.